We have dual storms west and east of the Philippines here today on our Sunday morning, the 24th of August, 2025. I am meteorologist Robert Speta, always doing my best to inform and educate so you can make proper decisions about what you're going to do with dealing with these weather conditions in the Western Pacific. And as I mentioned, we have dual storms. One here now approaching Hainan. That is Tropical Storm Isang for all intents and purposes, though. This is up to a typhoon at this point, and I'll explain to that in just a minute. Isang, as it's known in the Philippines, Kajiki is its international name per the WMO. And then we have this broad area of low pressure located towards the east of the Philippines. Now, this may not be a full-on named storm system, but it does have this broad circulation, which is going to be bringing an increase in rainfall across a good portion of the Philippines, including Visayas, Mindanao, and yes, over towards northern Luzon. It's a broad kind of smorgasbord, if you will, of meteorological conditions. So let's get into it. And first, let's talk about the track here with Kajiki. It is currently moving off towards the west, and according to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, at about 14 knots, so actually a pretty decent pace. Passing over Hainan as a typhoon. It's going to be making that landfall with winds about 70 to 75 knots. So a strong Cat 1, maybe even towards a Cat 2. The thing is, this actually shows a little bit of weakening here just off the coast of Vietnam, but time and time again, we see these storms enter that just exceptionally warm pocket of water out here, which really can allow for an increase in sea surface temperatures. This is all about 30 to 31, 32 degrees in spots. I say increase in sea surface temperatures. I meant increase in energy due to the sea surface temperatures. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised this maintains solid typhoon status before coming on shore in some of these coastal communities here, and then even just dragging all that moisture in for places into Laos and yes, even over towards northern areas of Thailand. This is just showing you the extent of tropical storm strength winds with this storm system as it marches inland. And then we can take a look at microwave imagery. See how it just emerged from Luzon 24 hours ago. Watch that convection wrap up, and in just the last few frames in the center right here, watch what it almost looks like an eye wall is attempting to develop around that low level center in there. It's not quite there, but I believe if we had recon flying into this storm system, we'd probably already have a typhoon on our hands. That's if we had recon. We're not fortunate enough in the Western Pacific that they have one like they do in the Atlantic, but nonetheless, people out here have been tracking these storms for hundreds of thousands of years, if not much longer than what they've been tracked in the Atlantic. So I'm sure people are just, they understand it. And all the while has been without recon. Granted, technology in recent years has been making life much easier to forecast out here. And well, take a look at our storm right now. There you go. There's your broader view as it moves off towards the west. Here's that broader circulation right in there. And you can just see that inflow with that monsoonal inflow kind of feeding into it. So let's take a closer look on the ECMWF outlook. Somebody just asked me the other day, Robert, what's the model you like to use the most? And it by far, without a doubt, is the ECMWF. CMC is laughable. GFS recently it's been noticeably kind of undercut, and it's not great. It puts out a lot of phantom storms, doesn't really get intensity right whatsoever. So if you're ever looking at like windy or something like that, make sure you click ECMWF with the model. That's my humble opinion. And you can take a look at the forecast here. It passes off Hainan, and the ECMWF also picking up on potentially a re-intensification here. See those winds really tighten up before coming on shore south of Hanoi, and then it just drags in all of that moisture behind it, and thus increasing that rainfall continuing there for central and northern Vietnam. And then you can see here the areas in darker red indicating over 300 millimeters through Tuesday and into Wednesday. I mean, that's some spots here could see as much as 500 millimeters. So definitely enough to cause some serious flooding for our friends out there. And then especially into the mountains, once this marches further inland, it's going to continue to impact those areas too. So if you're out there, Just be ready for it. All right. On the other side of things, I was talking about our broad area of low pressure that I do think is going to be maybe a tropical depression, but it definitely is a big monsoonal gyre at the very least moving across the Philippines. You can see the inflow wrapping in just like that, wrapping around like that, and then you have your low-level center right here that's kind of marching up like that. So a few people have been asking me, what's the exact track of it? And I'm like, it's not one of those like tight low-level circulations. I mean, if we go back to the satellite picture, let's just reanalyze the satellite here, okay? Here we go, right here. Can you find the low-level circulation? Compare that to what Kajiki Isang looks like, and then compare this area. It is diffuse. It is a broad gyre of a low, and we actually put up on the wind kind of flow with the ECMWF right there. See the broad circulation? You can compare it up with the GFS. It's very broad. Kind of having a hard time finding the low-level center, and he moves this GFS through. See how it's kind of puts that low-level center really tight there in the Samara? Let's scoot this over to the ECMWF. It keeps it diffuse with a broad kind of rotation. This is why I do think the Euro is just being better at picking up the energies of this storm. So we go back to here. You can kind of see what I'm talking about, that broad circulation here, and thus increasing the rainfall first down towards Visayas, and then even that moisture flow wrapping around towards the north across northern Luzon as that low-level center moves off just like that. So watch where the heaviest of the rain accumulates over the next 5 days so you can see exactly that inflow pushing around our storm system as it moves overhead, just bringing a wide case of heavy rainfall. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some heavy rainfall warnings here and there. And if it gets named, I guess it would be a skew of signal force warnings all across Luzon, but it would probably only top out as a signal 1. So that's something you just want to kind of realize if we do get this as a named storm. But I think at this point it's just a big old rainmaker for our friends here in the Philippines. So yeah, and this is just actually looking ahead in the Monday. Here you go, Visayas, Tacloban, places like Siargao, Cebu, all going to be getting in on the rainfall here. We scoot over towards Palawan. There you go. You got 32 for the high, and then we kind of pull back the picture, and let's fly off towards the north here into central and northern Luzon with that increase in the rainfall, especially along the west coast. So Subic, a high of 31, Baguio at 23, and you see Iligan 30 there. You're also going to be looking at those storms there on your Monday. So yeah, big shout out to everybody who continues to support this channel. I can't stress enough our Patreon members who are absolutely fantastic and amazing people. And I mean, I know not everybody can donate, so if you can't donate to help keep these graphic going, keep this channel running, please do me a favor and just hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It that does help out a lot, believe it or not, and hopefully we get to 100,000 subscribers, so we can kind of, it helps with the algorithm. Just trust me on that. I've seen kind of behind the scenes here. It does help out a lot. So anyways, if you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know in the comment section down below. I always do my best to try to answer some of them. And number one thing, of course, as always, friends, is stay safe out there. And I hope you have a great day, okay? All right.